outside of Philadelphia. And go, 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Yeah, we're on. Welcome into Rover Sports, kind of an abbreviated welcome into the show. I want to say thank you guys for watching. It's good to be back, and we kind of got a full slate of games to talk about here on Rover Sports, and I'm excited to preview this game with you. I'm really happy that Sports Doc is in here and that we're going to be talking about some football. So, Jake, how are you, man? A lot of people on this show, some people that are watching are dear, dear friends. All you guys are back. And really, the thing is that, Bruce, I smashed my phone. I'm not going to give out my phone number, but it's just been a tumultuous week because I've kind of
it was an accidental smashing. So. We've had a lot of floods here in Philly. In fact, the golf courses won't even be ready for play tomorrow. I'm sorry to report for all you Philly people. But good news is you got a new phone. You got a new iPhone.
The Sports Fury. I'm in their fantasy league. They do a heck of a job. They're almost at 50K right now. And they were even broadcasting live from a sports bar. You know those guys that do the live streams. So,
sure. Welcome everybody aboard here. We're doing college and pro football picks.
Yeah.
And we've got some good games.
Yes.
So what you want to start with, college or pro?
I want to start, I want to handle college a little bit. College, we kind of know the general storylines. We don't really, it's harder to know rosters in college unless you follow like recruiting circles.
We don't have to mention names. We don't have to get into stats either.
So a couple of big games this week. Ohio State and Penn State. And, Penn State is a team that you've been, a team that you really watched your whole life. And,
I'm here in Pennsylvania. It's the only team we really have, other than Pitt.
But
I don't mean to insult the Pitt people.
It's 4 hours away, and so you're a Penn State
guy. And I've actually never been there. It's kind of a bad, not a good ride from here. So I'm more of a pro football guy. But, taking interest in Penn State. Never really rooted for Ohio State, I can tell you that for sure.
So we'll go quickly. Urban Meyer, too. That's kind of looming over the likability of Ohio State. Their players they're a very, very good offense. You saw Ohio State this year and Dwayne Haskins at quarterback and J.T. Barrett last year, Bruce. I don't think Urban Meyer had the guts to bench, one of the best leaders of Ohio State, but I think this quarterback's a lot better now for Ohio State. I think this offense is high-powered. Trace McSorley's a very, very, very elite college player. What do you think tomorrow? You think there's a lot of points? It's going to be a whiteout in Happy Valley at Beaver Stadium. How do you see this game playing out tomorrow night?
Well, the way I look at it, I think they're going to miss Saquon Barkley. I think this is a statement game for Urban Meyer. As much as I like Penn State, as a Pennsylvania resident, I'm going to pick a crazy score. I'm going to pick 29-27 Ohio State. I think that
I like it.
They have a better team this year. And, obviously there's going to be 100,000 people strong in Happy Valley tomorrow. And I'll be rooting for State. But I'm picking Ohio State. I think Urban Meyer, it's going to be a lot of emotion coming back. And I think his team's going to win one for the Gipper.
I think Ohio State's going to win. I think they're going to win by 14. I think they're going to pull away later. But of course that they... what's it called? Wow. I just got an alert that somebody's actually tweeted me a Khalil Mack picture. So I did not know.
That's pretty cool. That's nice.
But because I've been in favor of John Gruden for a while, I'm gonna go forward and say my next college picks.
Yep.
I believe.
How about Florida, Mississippi State? That's one of your favorite games, I think.
Florida. I think Mississippi State's going to win. Just too much of a revenge factor. I think that they kind of overlooked Kentucky. It was such a statement game last week. Kentucky drilled Mississippi State 28-7. It is the best team in Lexington in the past 40 years. They haven't won 8 games, I think, since 1970, Kentucky. But going on Mississippi State has, Montez Sweat. They have this kid, Jeffrey Simmons, a 5-star kid from Mississippi. He's going to be a first-round NFL defensive tackle. He's the next Fletcher Cox of that program. I look at Florida, and I think that Florida's an okay program. They were able to beat Tennessee. Dan Mullen is a very, very good coach, but it's just too emotional. State's going to win the game by 10 points going away. I'm taking State. Here's my crazy prediction. I think Tennessee keeps it close against Georgia tomorrow because Georgia, you know, they're going to overlook Tennessee. Jeremy Pruitt's going to get his guys in shape. I think it's going to be like a Buffalo Bills, Minnesota Vikings situation. Georgia looked terrible.
That's an outlier of
Georgia looked terrible at Missouri last week.
It's
in Athens. It's in Georgia. So I don't think Tennessee's – I don't know if I have the guts to pick them winning. I just think it's going to be a tight game.
I personally don't think so. I think Georgia's going to roll. They like rolling up the score. Tennessee is Tennessee. And I'm going to regrettably pick Georgia by a lot, beating the spread.
Let's talk about the Rams. I'm going to eat some crow on this video. I might have to even release a separate video about the LA Rams because you look at Jared Goff, and I said that the Rams would not be a playoff team. I said that they'd be one of the biggest flops of the offseason. It turns out that the other team yesterday, the Minnesota Vikings, are looking like the biggest flop so far. A lot of people had them in the Super Bowl, but I said the Rams would be terrible. I said that Jared Goff, you know, was just a pretender. And I look at Jared Goff, and he was making just incredible throws yesterday. He does have better arm strength than I was giving him credit for. There's some things you're going to get wrong in this business. That's what makes this show compelling.
You got to be willing to eat crow, right? Got to be willing to do it.
And also, it's boring every time to just pick good teams to be successful. And that's why I want to be on the cutting edge of something, whether it was Patrick Mahomes being elite.
Even being dead wrong.
Yeah, but sometimes you are, right? Like you look at Colin Cowherd, and you know how Colin Cowherd hates Baker Mayfield. So when Baker Mayfield drilled Sam Darnold in the Jets, the first place people went was to Colin Cowherd. And that is how you draw in listeners, Bruce. That's how you draw in listeners. That's how you are compelling as a guy that hosts a show, is you make those predictions. So
yep, well,
that's what happens.
Let me comment a bit. I've been watching the Rams, and this Rams team reminds me a lot of the Eagles team last year. They're rolling downhill. Jared Goff looks elite. His throws are right on the money. Cooper Kupp, Todd Gurley, we knew. It's not a surprise. We know they loaded up on the defensive line, and they've got a really good coach. And I don't see the ball, I don't see him stopping rolling anytime soon. Obviously, Garoppolo got hurt, and that's really devastating for their main competition, 49ers. It's going to be real interesting. I plan on going to the Eagles game in Los Angeles. Los Angeles is a great place to go, the Coliseum. At the end of the season, I don't know if it's going to be a meaningful game, but looking at the Vikings, they're disappointing. They'll be coming to Lincoln Financial Field next week, not this weekend. 4:30 national game. I'll be there, but I'm feeling pretty confident in looking at the Vikings defense. It looks really poor. Their secondary, again, I give Goff all the credit, but I think the Eagles are going to chop them up. We can start to go around the league and talk about some games. Who are the Giants playing this week?
Well, I want to talk a little bit. I still want to talk about the Rams.
Okay, go. Let's keep talking.
You know, when I look at Jared Goff, I'm not going to say that he's a product of Sean McVay, because then Jared Goff can never win in my eyes. Like, there's some people that when they're wrong on something or when there's evidence against them, they can say, you know what they could say? They could say, well, Jared Goff would suck in this scenario. Like, Jared Goff would be bad if he was on, let's just say, the Arizona Cardinals.
Like, let's say he was coached by Jeff Fisher, for instance.
Well, that's the extreme.
Of course.
That's being coached by a complete imbecile for the past 10 years. It may be when he was with Steve McNair, he was a little younger. But John Fox, for example, was in Carolina, all right? That's like if you put Jared Goff behind that offensive line in Carolina, say Jared Goff would struggle more, and then you can insert Matt Ryan. If Matt Ryan was playing with the Rams, you know, Matt Ryan would be amazing. I'm not going to go with that argument, because then Jared Goff could never win. If you say Jared Goff's just a product of Sean McVay, I think Sean McVay has to do with his success, but it's not fair to Jared Goff, because then Jared Goff will never be respected. He'll always have an asterisk. And I got to give him credit for stepping up. A couple of rollout throws are really impressive. I look at Jared Goff and him as a prospect. I think he's an accurate pocket passer. I don't think he has the mobility of Wentz. I don't think he has the mobility even of Dak or Mahomes. But the way he can throw in the pocket, he does bring some elements that are good.
But Goff, if you look at him, look at Tom Brady, and I'm not going to obviously compare them, but Brady is not fast afoot, but he could feel the rush and he could slide around the pocket. One thing about Goff that I really like is the way he's stepping up. We've watched a lot of video on him. He's stepping up and releasing. He's pretty fearless. Well, he doesn't have happy feet. His mechanics are a lot better.
That O-line,
I don't know.
That O-line is unbelievable.
His arm
That's
strength,
another thing
his
about
arm
the
strength
Rams.
looks great. He threw it. I remember in the game, and you saw the replay. He threw a 60-yard ball, and it's actually, Spencer, easier to throw it up and get a little air under it. He threw like a dart that only went like 15 feet off the ground.
50,
remember that one?
I think it was 50 yards.
Okay. It might have been 50 yards from scrimmage, but the throw was 60
It was a good
yards.
arm strength. It was kind of a wow throw. And the one thing about Jared is he throws a very catchable ball. And he's able to find his receivers. He's playing very confidently right now, meaning that the ball's coming out of his hand. He sees a read. And also he did a nice audible checking the Robert Woods. But you look at these receivers of the LA Rams. And Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham, these are the guys that make big-time money. But look at the Rams receivers. They have a 5'10" Brandon Cooks, who you would say on any teams, but if you put Cooks on any team, he is a B wide receiver. He is not the upper echelon. He is the top. He is in the top 15. Okay,
See Tavon Austin.
No, he's better than that.
Okay.
He's not a gadget player. Tavon Austin's a deep player.
But you're talking small. I'm talking about height and speed. Tavon just doesn't catch the ball. Doesn't run great routes.
Brandon Cooks is not your Julio Jones. He's not your, I'll tell you what, he's not your Odell Beckham. He's not your top echelon. He's not your Hopkins.
He's not your Alshon Jeffrey even.
No, and I don't.
But you know what? But with Goff, he's so fast. He runs really good routes. Those two guys have good chemistry.
If you put them,
if you watch that
Sammy
game,
Watkins is more elite.
If you watch the game, Cooks caught a lot of balls really fast, but the ball's right on the money, especially the out plays. One thing Goff really throws, he's got good arm strength. There's good out plays where the ball is just on the line and they catch it going out of bounds. Cooper Kupp, some great catches, some great sidelines.
But let's talk
and he takes pretty safe throws.
Let's talk about the rest.
No interceptions.
Let's talk about the rest of these receivers. Robert Woods in Buffalo was a complete and total afterthought.
But he had Tyrod Taylor.
He was a C-
Tyrod Taylor is a total underachiever.
But the thing that I'm going to say to you is that Cooper Kupp is a third-round pick from Eastern Washington. He didn't even play FBS football. He played FCS football. And the point about these Rams receivers is that they're not marquee names at all. So the argument that you need to have an amazing offense, that you need like a Hopkins or a Brown or a Beckham or a top-flight guy, it's just been proven wrong by the LA Rams and by this offense. Their tight end prospects, Higbee and Everett, are not household names either. It's really the offensive line's incredible. Jared Goff's playing well, Todd Gurley, and really they're finding these gems, and you got to give Les Snead, of course, so much credit, but Sean McVay is one of the best coaches that we've seen in our game. He could be the next Bill Walsh style of football, and I'm going to say this about the Rams, with the Vikings kind of being this depleted on defense, this is the Rams' year to go out and win a championship, and we'll have to see if they can convert. This is really looking like the Rams' year, and they better take advantage of it. With with some.
And again, it reminds me. You wonder who's going to stop the Rams.
I'm not on the Rams bandwagon.
It's on the bandwagon. It's easy. Well, it's easy to be on the bandwagon.
I don't even know if I'm saying that the Rams are going to win the championship. If Jimmy Garoppolo was still playing, I might still be picking the line. I might still be picking the Niners, because how good are
C.J. Beathard? The question is,
how good are the Vikings? Maybe the Vikings just suck. Has anyone ever thought about that? The Rams beat the Cardinals. The Rams beat Cardinals, Chargers, and Oakland Raiders. Combined record of those teams is like 2-10. But anyway, we'll go to the 49ers.
We don't have the Rams' schedule. We know they play the Eagles late,
but
in the
they
year.
haven't played any unbelievable teams thus far this year. The Vikings
They have
are
not.
a massive
So
disappointment.
the question is,
this
look
year.
at the NFC. It's down.
So maybe the
Would you
Rams
agree?
are getting overinflated.
Comment. NFC's down this year. The Saints aren't exactly right.
I agree.
Cowboys are way down.
The Saints are not that good.
Bucks are surprisingly good.
But I think the Bucks are going to get sent back down. I think that you look.
Washington got off to a
I
decent
think the
start.
Lions are better.
Lions are certainly better than we thought because
That
they've never been good. The Lions haven't been good since Barry Sanders.
And that brings us into a game that we'll talk about.
Let's roll right in.
When you look at this game, the coaching advantage, the quarterback advantage, and the defensive line favors the Detroit Lions over the Dallas Cowboys. But
where's the game?
The game's in Dallas. We've been watching Lions football for our entire lives.
Most of the time with stomach distress bags in their hands.
What would the Lions of old do after a big win? When you're just about to give them credence?
They would lose like 30-7 if they went to away. By the way, Lions are traditionally a terrible away team. When do they go in and beat up a team away, especially a team like even the Cowboys?
And they don't know how to handle any sort of success whatsoever. They're always pretenders. They're like the Washington Redskins.
So the question is, here's a question. Why are the Lions better this year? Same quarterback. Is it all coaching? Is it all Matt Patricia? Why are the Lions better?
Well, the Lions, they happened to beat the Patriots, and I think that was a huge win. They played really well against the 49ers in the second half. You know, that's when they came together. And the thing about Matt Patricia that I really like is he took a big risk in the offseason. He ran these guys into the wall. He you know, with Jim Caldwell, he ran a shift where it was like the rest of the NFL, where these guys would go through training camp. They wouldn't really be tested. They wouldn't be put to the brink. So the point is about the Detroit Lions is that, you know, Matt Patricia, he ran the risk of alienating all his guys because he would run such a brutal offseason program, and that's why their conditioning late in games has been a lot better. So I would say Matt Patricia, the way that he's approached the NFL game, that's the real outlier, is him, obviously, being in Detroit right now.
And as far as the players, just getting into the Detroit roster, which I know you look at players, is there anybody this year who's really distinguishing themselves?
There's one player, and that's the running back that broke the 100-yard streak, Kerryon Johnson from Auburn. This guy,
he's really good. I think that he's got the perfect combination. He's got some good size, but really good speed. And here's a guy, his game is translating to the NFL.
Decent
always liked
speed,
him.
very
if I
good
remember,
size.
He was injured. He was banged up. Remember during the BCS there?
Yeah.
And the guy was banged up, but he was a warrior. He played through it. You remember?
Gus Malzahn runs his running backs into a brick wall, and Kerryon Johnson is a bell cow. And that's why I think a lot of NFL teams shied away from him, because he had so much mileage on the tires, as you alluded to. But I look at Kerryon, and I think that he's a dark horse candidate for Rookie of the Year. I mean, of course, you have Baker Mayfield, but I think Kerryon, he might surge. He might take off.
If he keeps, you know, if he wins the rushing title, obviously Gurley, I believe, is in the lead right now. And we're watching a little crazy highlights just in the background. 76ers hosting the Australian team. With Brett Brown, of course, was there a long time. Ben Simmons knows a lot of the guys.
That's funny.
The return of Markelle Fultz, a guy who was relegated in his rookie year, probably the worst season for a really non-injured rookie. And Markelle Fultz, you know, obviously looked good in that game. But let's get back to football. That was just a little snippet, breaking news.
So the question is, are you picking the Cowboys? Are you picking the chalk? Are you picking the Lions to turn back into the old Lions?
No, I actually believe in the Lions this year. I think the Cowboys have been exposed. Looking at Dak Prescott, only one out of the last 5 games over 200 yards. Everybody's stacking it up against Zeke Elliott. Defense, yeah, they've got 2 good linebackers on the left side. We've analyzed them, looked at their film. But I really don't see I see kind of an ugly, boring game, and I see the Lions eking out a victory in Dallas. And I think Dallas is headed towards the bottom of the toilet bowl.
I'm really rooting for the Lions. I think that a lot of people in the state of Texas are actually rooting for the Lions because here's my take. If you're a Dallas Cowboys fan and you lose to the Lions, Jason Garrett is gone. So that's the thing.
You think he really be fired mid-season?
If
Would
you're
he be the first guy?
1-3, if you're a Cowboys fan, do you want to go 8-8, or would you rather just get rid of your head coach while you have the chance? I think there's going to be a certain amount of people that are rooting for a regime change, not only with Dak Prescott, but with Jason Garrett as well. Let's go to one of the best.
How about Niners Chargers? We have a ton of Niners fans.
Yeah.
Thanks for logging in. By the way, little station break. We are Rover Sports. We're ESPN Philly, 6:10 a.m. on Wednesday nights. A lot of you guys are national on YouTube. You can get us on the TuneIn radio app, Rover Sports. That's Spencer G. I'm Bruce the Sports Doc. That's what I do, sports medicine. And Spencer does this. Let's go to the next game, please. Chargers and, of course, Niners. C.J. Beathard started the game for the Niners. The coach, at least, is expressing his confidence. You know, it's nice for the coaches rally around a guy, especially around injuries. Sometimes a team will overexcel, I guess is a better word, overexceed. And so some people think the Niners will actually roll in this game. What do you think?
Roll?
They'll actually roll. That we had one of our comments, but again, we have a ton of Niners fans.
Niners beating the Chargers as 10.5-point favorite underdogs. I don't see that at all. I see the Chargers covering the spread. I don't trust C.J. Beathard really that much. I think he's okay, but I think that he lost a bunch of close games last year. He had plenty of chances to win. I look at this Niners defense. It's been very underwhelming. And with Jimmy Garoppolo, this team needed its defense to catch up to the offense, but it is such a huge, huge hit having Jimmy Garoppolo hurt. So I am going to take the Chargers to win, and I think the Niners should have traded for Davis Webb. I've been saying I should make a video on that. I think Davis Webb can do what Jared Goff did. I think the Niners should have tried to make a splash in any way. Teddy Bridgewater would have been a splash, but the Niners are going to go into this game, and if CJ can't win this game, they're going to be 1-3. Then why not take a chance? Why not take a flyer on a guy and give up a pick?
I want to take a break to remember one of my favorite football players of all time. Very sad. Wes Hopkins, number 48, strong safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, played for Buddy Ryan, and died way too young, died at age 57. My dear friend Ray Ellis, and Ray played safety. They played alongside one another for the Eagles, and Ray and I have been in touch. I know Wes has been in failing health. There's Seth Joyner, who also played with him. And Wes suffered from CTE, dementia. He was living in Alabama with his mother for a while, and he was in such bad shape. We wanted him to fly up to Philly, actually, to get evaluated by our neurological center and help him, get his CTE money and all that. But I remember Wes about 15 years ago. I saw him at Boyd's clothing store, and he looked great, just like he does in that picture. But so sad. Mark McMillan, Ray Ellis, Brian Dawkins, a lot of people paying homage to one of the greats, to Wes Hopkins, and also Tommy McDonald, one of the Eagles' few Hall of Famers, little wide receiver. He used to always come into our beverage place. So, unfortunately, last month it's been a sad time losing Tom McDonald and, of course, Wes Hopkins today, dead, presumably of CTE, at a young age of 57. So we just want to take time to pay homage to him. That'll lead us into a game that we almost attended. We had tickets, but unfortunately got stuck, working this weekend on call, trying to help people. And that game, of course, is Philadelphia Eagles at Tennessee Titans. Nashville's a great city. And I was at the game last week. Carson Wentz was real rusty in the first half, had a bad fumble. He had one of the worst interceptions. Came back, though, led a drive, and they ended up beating the Colts at the end. And I think Carson Wentz will be Carson Wentz. The team has been decimated by injuries. However, Alshon Jeffries will be back. Interesting, Jay Ajayi actually has a facet fracture, actually has a small fracture of a bone in his back, but not a weight-bearing bone. He'll be wearing a flak jacket. He'll be back. Sproles is still out. One of the big blows that the Eagles suffered was Rodney McLeod. Suffered usually an MCL injury. Isn't that bad? You could usually wear a brace, tape it up and rest, but he had a fully torn MCL. So Rodney McLeod, starting safety for the Eagles, underwent surgery. His season is over. And you've got McLeod's season is over.
Wow.
Corey Graham, number 24, will be filling him for the rest of the season. That's a big blow for the Eagles. So you look at post-Super Bowl hangover, you see a lot of injuries. And again, if the Eagles don't win this game, they're not going to be in good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I look at this game, and I think I'm really rooting for the Tennessee Titans, obviously, because, you know, I want the Giants to get back in this division, and I really want to see Tennessee finally be good this year. You know, I'm really impressed by the Titans beating Jacksonville. It's a game nobody wants to talk about. Nobody wants to give credit to Marcus Mariota. Mariota only has a 59 passer rating in the NFL right now, but he's been dealing with injuries. His fist, he can't literally hold a football because of his elbows all messed up. But I look at Tennessee this week, and you have Tennessee, you have Derrick Henry, who's really running tough, and I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. I think it's going to be very low scoring. And I believe Tennessee has a great chance to win. The spread's 4.5 for the Philadelphia Eagles, but this would be a huge game for Mike Vrabel. I'm still not convinced he's a great football coach. I really like their coordinator, Matt LaFleur. I'm going with the Tennessee Titans. It would be a great win for Tennessee. It would bring the Eagles to 2-2 on the season. Whoever gets this win will get leapfrogged. Right now, the Tennessee Titans are winning that division over Jacksonville, which nobody really expected at the beginning of the year. So I am really pulling for Tennessee, and I think Tennessee wins a low-scoring game. This is going to be an interesting game. Tennessee's defense is playing out of their minds, Bruce. Tennessee shut down that Houston Texans offense. They shut down that Jacksonville offense with Blake Bortles. This Tennessee defense is playing awesome football. Tennessee wins this one 24-19.
Okay, well, I'm looking at things a little differently. I think Carson Wentz will be back as Carson Wentz. I think Jay Ajayi is a big part of the team. Corey Clement is injured, so he might not be playing in the game. Alshon Jeffrey, Zach Ertz, certainly Dallas Goedert had a great game. I see chemistry. Dallas Goedert is huge. He's thick. He's a rookie, a tight end, and I see their offense coming alive. And like you said, if you've got a bad elbow and you're hurt, guess what team you don't want to be playing? You don't want to be playing the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to be playing Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, Chris Long. You're up against it. Looking at the Eagles' linebacking core, Nigel Bradham will be playing and will be healthy.
Is Graham playing or not?
Corey Graham.
Brandon Graham,
number 55, is not hurt. He will be playing. I just think they're going to be all that the Titans can handle. Again, Corey Davis, second-year guy.
Yeah.
He, the Eagles, the cornerbacks have been having trouble. Jalen Mills has gotten torched a few times, and so I'm picking a pretty close game. Again, low scoring. I agree with that.
Right.
I'm picking Eagles 20 and Titans 17. So I think the odds makers have it right. It's going to be a pretty close game.
Pretty close.
Should be a good game to watch.
Titans cover.
I always like to watch these interleague games.
You're taking the Titans. I think it's an interesting game.
I'm taking the Titans in what?
I'd say that, yes. I'd say that it's kind of compelling. I would say that it's an 8 out of 10. For me now, I'm going to go to a game that's pretty compelling. The New York Giants, and this is really the game. When you look at the Giants, they're really going to have a tough schedule because they go down to Carolina, they go to Atlanta. Even though they beat the Texans last week, their defense looked really, really shaky. Their secondary looked really, really porous. I look at Pat Shurmur. I'm not sure if I'm in on Pat Shurmur. I might even want the Rams offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, in a perfect world. But I look at Eli Manning. Can the Giants play ball control? That's the key in this game. The Giants need to win the time of possession. I think they crushed the Texans. I think the Giants held the ball maybe 35 minutes out of the 60 last week. So the Giants go to play the Saints, and the Saints defense is not that great. The Giants are not going to hit a ton of explosive plays with an older quarterback.
So am I correct? You're actually picking the Giants to go away to Superdome?
No, the game's in New York.
Okay, that's
good.
It's
a 4 o'clock game.
4 o'clock game.
A 4:15 game.
So we'll be able to watch both games.
And
the Eagles game is 1 o'clock.
Yes.
And that's the way it should be. You should be able to watch Eagles and Giants game.
Right.
So the Saints. No, you might be right. No, listen, the Saints are definitely having...
I never even made my pick yet.
Okay,
I'm picking,
go make your pick.
I'm picking the Saints to win this game going away 34-20. I'm picking the Saints, just too much firepower late in the second half.
I'm not. I'm actually picking the Giants. Okay, I'm picking the Giants to win this game 24-20. I'll tell you why. The Saints have been wildly inconsistent, a very bad road team. There's just something wrong with that team this year. Drew Brees is finally showing a little bit of age, and I think Saquon Barkley is a beast.
Age.
Odell Beckham, yeah, he's almost 40.
He put up 43 points last week,
Okay,
Bruce.
I'm
He's the only guy keeping that team afloat.
Okay, I'm telling you that I believe the Giants are gonna have a breakout week. Saquon Barkley, Odell Beckham. I think Shepard has been playing well.
Yeah,
you're seeing chemistry. Shepard was injured last year.
Shepard played great last week,
and I think the Giants. Firstly,
it's going to be a great first half. Like the first half, they're going to come out
firing. Flowers. I think the
Right.
Giants are going to have their fans are going to be there. They know this is a big game.
Yeah,
it's going to be exciting.
This
and I love NFC East football. I have to admit it. And I've never been a big Saints fan. So in any event, I think it's going to be a big win for the Giants.
What do you predict? What's the score?
2017. Giants will beat the Saints.
20-17.
And you'll be a happy
in
guy.
a dogfight.
You'll be a happy
So you think the Giants will really? So you think that the Giants will control the ball, or do you think they're going to sack Drew Brees?
No, I think that you're going to see Saquon Barkley. He's a beast. Legs are like tree
20
trunks.
points as a winner against the Saints.
Saints are playing away.
20 points.
You think their defense is that good that they can hold the Giants less than 20?
No, I'm saying the Giants scored 20. I have the Giants scoring 20, but you're holding the Saints to 17 points.
I really believe you are. I think the Giants.
I think the Saints are scoring 34.
Okay, listen, what I believe. I believe the Giants' defense. They're going to be blitzing. They're going to bring their linebackers in. Mm-hmm. They've got Olivia Jordan. Sorry, I can't. I messed up his name. He's a journeyman.
Well, he's not playing at all. He might as well be out for the entire season every week. It's like he has an ankle, but come on,
is he out? Oh,
he hasn't played at all. No, but with Olivier Vernon, my hopes of him playing this year.
He's like Jordan Hicks. Being an Eagles fan,
whenever he
Jordan Hicks is always injured.
You can't rely on
Olivier Vernon. Like okay, I'm looking though at the defense, dying it up, taking risk at home. Yeah. Crowd's going to be in the game. The Saints are just not a good away team. Originally, by the way, if this game was played in New Orleans, I would have picked, of course, the Saints because
OV is out. You got to be.
Is that really true? Or is that
you got to be kidding me?
Is that
with an ankle? He's out 4 games. I think they're doing a disservice to this guy because why would
he
you
is
say?
Out really?
Why you should say he has a broken ankle? You should have said he's been out for 4 weeks to start the season. This whole week to week, getting Giants fans all excited. It's just really doing a disservice to the New York Giants.
Is he stealing money?
He's having a lot of money, but if he's hurt, I'm not going to knock a guy who was injured.
We can't say we didn't.
Olivier Vernon has more toughness in his pinky than we do in our whole bodies. He's an NFL
we're not comparing
player.
ourselves to NFL football players.
Well, here's the point. The point is you have them scoring 17 points. I don't. The Giants to win this game, ugly. The Giants need to hold the ball the entire game. They need to run the ball like you talked about. I don't think the Giants.
I think it's going to be raining.
I don't think the Giants are going to be dialing
on Sunday,
up big plays.
I think it's going to be. This is what I hear: changing weather. It's going to be raining, windy, and that's Giants football weather.
What a surprise! Tomorrow's going to be nice, but
tomorrow's going to be nice. Sunday's going to be windy and raining. Cold front coming through.
My sister wanted to go to the game, just me and her, so maybe
that's
we'll
nice.
Go.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, you're not even a Giants fan.
That's true. I don't want to miss the big. I don't want to miss Titans Eagles.
You know what's true is that and this is a game. If I go to the Giants game, I will miss this game. This is my favorite game on the slate. It's possibly a game. I am a huge Giants fan, but this is. I'm not a bigger. I don't think I could say I'm a bigger Baker Mayfield fan. Maybe I'm a bigger Davis Webb.
Who's your favorite? But Davis Webb is a good.
Davis Webb's my favorite quarterback. I'm not hoping for Sam Darnold to get hurt. I'm hoping for the Jets to score 5 points in Jacksonville. I would love Davis Webb to be traded to the San Francisco 49ers. Davis Webb has seen Mahomes do well. His best friend from Texas Tech, he battled Mahomes in college. They battled for that job.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield, of course, and Davis Webb have a huge past. They hate each other.
Who's Cleveland playing?
They're playing the Oakland Raiders. It's my favorite game.
Where's the game?
Chucky, John Gruden.
Is it in the black hole?
Yes. And you know what?
That'll be an interesting game.
You know what is weird, Bruce, is that Fox has that game and CBS has an NFC game. That's just really
backwards. Isn't that backwards?
I hate it. You know why they did it that way? Because Fox had the Browns Jets game, so they're building congruency with Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. And
so they're familiar with
the Browns.
The Browns.
Now, this is the thing. Paul Gunford, the defensive coordinator of the Oakland Raiders, he knows Todd Haley well, okay? They're NFC North rivals or AFC North rivals because Haley was with the Steelers. I'm just going to say out here in the open, my lock of the week is the Oakland Raiders beat the Browns by double digits on Sunday. Oakland gets their first win, and they are a better team than everybody expects. Oakland's a good team this year. Oakland gets a win.
Yeah, I think so. I think it takes a while for a guy like John Gruden, who's been away from the game for a while, let's be honest. And I like what Derek Carr's been doing. Started off really poor, rusty. He was injured last year. I think Derek Carr at home lights it up. The Browns are a good home team. They're still the Browns. I think you're going to see a lot of excitement for Baker Mayfield. But I believe that Raiders are just going to run over the Browns defense. I agree it's a 10-point victory for the Oakland Raiders.
I think Oakland, it's their time. I think that their defensive
I'm not going that
come
far.
alive.
It's their time to win one game.
Well, the Chargers
against the Cleveland Browns.
Their time. Well, what did you mean? That they're going to be Super Bowl champions?
No. I wasn't saying that.
Their time.
It might be their time to win one game.
I think they could be better than the Chargers.
A lot of times when people play the Browns, you know what you say about the team playing them?
What?
It's their time.
Well, I look at the Browns, and the game would obviously be better for. I'm kind of rooting for John Gruden. I think John Gruden's been dragged.
So here's a question.
I'm
sorry, I stepped on your comment.
No, it's fine. I talk a lot. Well, you talked a lot.
I talk even more.
You talked, about the whole tribute, and then you went into the Eagles. I let you.
I was allowed to tribute.
I let you have five.
A guy who's one of my favorite
No,
players.
I didn't mean that.
That was a good tribute.
But after you did about 5 more minutes of rope, and I had to step in. Remember, because you told me that I should step in when.
So here's a question. We have a question from Lisa from Reddit.
Go ahead, Bruce.
Spencer G. Truth or dare? Ready?
Yes.
Who do you root for to have more success this year? Listen carefully. John Gruden or Baker Mayfield? Got to pick one. Not easy. I think it's tough. And Lisa knows you pretty well. She's a big Rover fan. She's roving on out there in Reading, in Cal Country, in Pennsylvania. We got a Mayfield. We got one vote for Mayfield. Who are you rooting to do better? I know you love Chuck. I know you love Baker. It's not easy. Yeah, this is a killer. That was a great question.
All right. I think that...
Not you think. Who you rooting for?
John Gruden.
You rooting for Gruden?
Because these Oakland Raiders... Derek Carr is one of my favorite
Hello,
players.
how you doing?
Derek Carr is one of my favorite players in the NFL.
Troy Johnson is definitely one of our guys.
Yes.
Troy, nice to see you. Hope you're having a nice time.
Let me answer the question.
So I'm saying hi to Troy.
Elaborate.
Go right ahead.
John Gruden needs to start by winning. He only has a couple more years left in Oakland before they move to Vegas, which I'm kind
only
of
one more year.
I'm torn about that.
I think they're playing. Is it one more year? How many more years?
One more year. One more year. I'm excited about them moving to Vegas. The Coliseum is kind of an old traditional
vote for Baker. There are a lot of votes. I'm not seeing any Chucky votes.
That's the point. I think
everybody loves Baker. How can you not love Baker?
People don't like John Gruden because of the whole Khalil Mack thing. It's really upsetting me. It's getting my emotions high because I think the Raiders made the right decision about Khalil Mack and Derek Carr. I mean, the Raiders.
Baker. We got a lot of big Bakers. We got
the Raiders have been
losing. Bakers.
The Raiders have been losing.
We're talking about who do you want to be more successful? Yes. Baker Mayfield, Troy, or John Gruden? We have Spencer picks Chucky.
But I like
he's a big
Baker
Gruden
too.
guy.
I wish that both of them.
You love
could be
Baker. I
successful.
mean, obviously,
but
Baker's fun. He's great for the league.
The thing about the Oakland Raiders is that the Oakland Raiders have been
Browns
when
suck.
they lost.
You can't really argue that the Browns don't suck.
When they lost heartbreakers to the.
We're not arguing the contrary.
When the Dolphins lost heartbreakers to the Raiders.
John Gruden is an overrated coach. There's a nice comment there. So far he is. You know why? Has he won any games yet? Has he won any games?
No.
Okay, well,
no.
Is it easy to stomp on his grave? Of course it is.
No.
He hasn't won any games yet.
What? You're talking about the Oakland Raiders. When's the last time they've been good? Since he's left that franchise, Bruce? I mean, they've had Jack Del Rio jacking off in a river. I mean, that's pretty much the verbal...
You're talking Jack Mehoff?
Yeah, I'm talking about Jack...
Jack Mehoff was a very famous...
I'm talking about Jack freaking Del Rio, Bruce. And the thing is about the Oakland Raiders is that they've been a dumpster fire for years and years. They've been horrible with Lane Kiffin, with Tom Cable, with all these other coaches. John Gruden is not overrated at all.
When was the last time the Browns were interesting? Good question.
They are 2 plays away from being 2-1, Bruce. So the fact that you say that John Gruden is
Queen had ball, she'd
overrated.
be king. They're a losing team.
They're not a losing team. When they make the wild card, I am going to be so excited. This is exactly why I love John Gruden, because everybody doesn't like him. They think that John Gruden is just the authority. They think that John Gruden is getting paid too much money, that Khalil Mack is so good. Everybody makes fun of John Gruden every day. John Gruden, the hardest working coach in the profession. I want to see John Gruden, because there's so many people that are millennial, new school people that say that an old football coach with old ways can't perform in this modern NFL. And that's why I'm passionate about the subject. Baker Mayfield,
there's a comment
here's the thing.
Talk about.
Last thing I'm going to say to you.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield.
I think you'll say more
Baker
things than that.
Mayfield about the subject.
Done.
Baker Mayfield's approval rating is about a 90. I would say it is really high. I don't think people care about the
Does everybody know? Okay, I mean, if you're even a casual NFL fan or fantasy fan, you have to know Baker. Is there anybody who really doesn't know about him? Well, he's a number one pick.
People love Baker. I mean, I still love Baker.
You really followed
Mayfield.
him. Listen, here's the deal. We followed him
Everybody
really closely
loves
in college.
Baker. Nobody loves John Gruden. That's why somebody has to be on the John Gruden side of things. Okay. But go ahead. Talk about Baker.
Let me make a comment. Okay, yeah. I think I always like to bring the fans in. We got Troy Johnson Jr. here. We've got Sports Theory. We've got a lot of good
Anthony,
people.
Yeah.
We've had a pretty solid.
Got John Niner. We got Bert. Bert is my biggest critic.
By the way, it's 12:22 here in the East, all right? And we have between 22 and 25 fans at all times. That's really good. Viewers are really watching Rover Sports tonight. We want to thank them. So let me make a comment that they made. Somebody made a comment that the Browns D is top 10, and now they have a quarterback. You can see him start to excel. Do you agree with that statement or not?
I look at their head coach, and I just don't see the consistency that Hugh Jackson has to offer. I think it's very difficult.
He's consistently funny. He doesn't really look like an NFL coach.
You're right. He is very consistent. He's consistent in sucking and losing.
Consistently bad.
1-32 is very consistent. You're absolutely
That's pretty consistent. That's like a clock.
I don't think the Browns making the playoffs.
Anybody knows?
They have
have
a losing culture.
Hugh Jackson's
they have
garbage.
Very talented players. They have very talented
the Steelers.
players.
Who are the Steelers playing? Are they playing the Browns? Is that the game?
No, the Browns are playing the Raiders.
Okay, no, I'm sorry. I lapsed there.
The Steelers,
long week.
Who
are the Steelers playing?
They're playing the Ravens on Sunday night. What do you think about that game?
Where's the game?
Ravens go to Heinz Field. It's in Pittsburgh. I think that
I agree with the Steelers fans.
You think the Steelers will win?
Number one, Steelers, let's look at their chalk. Steelers play great at night games. They play great at Heinz Field. Ben's really starting to light it up. The Ravens are a really good home team, but a boring, bad away team. Something happens to Joe Flacco when he gets out of Baltimore, and it's not good. So I am picking the Steelers there. I don't know what the spread is. We have to look at that.
But I want the Ravens to win. I want the Steelers
but who
to
are you
be
going to
dethroned.
pick? Right, but who are you picking in that game?
It's a game I'll stay away from.
By the way, the Steelers Nation does support. I'm not a Steelers fan at all. I rarely root for them. Not that I'm a Ravens fan either. But I'll be watching the game. You know what? I like watching football.
I like
I'll
the
be watching
Ravens
that game
more than the Steelers.
You'll be driving back from the Meadowlands or MetLife, whatever you want to call it.
That'll be pretty damn cool. I don't know if I'm going to go. I mean, there's just a lot of good 4
If it's rainy and windy, I don't think you'll be taking.
I do want to see the Oakland.
Your daughter, your sister.
I don't want
to. Your daughter. Sorry, incestuous daughter.
I don't want to see Oakland. Well, whatever games are really good. I mean, there's another.
Who are the Bills playing?
I want to see Bills.
Who are the Bills playing? Bills Packers. Now that's a fascinating game to me because the Bills pulled up. I think the upset of the year.
I wasn't able to pick.
Well, I didn't.
I wasn't able to pick the Steelers game.
Okay. Pick the Steelers
fair.
game.
We just
I'm already on to the
about
next
it.
game. Sorry,
you need to freaking relax.
You're bogarting this thing. Come on, who's gonna win? Pick the game already.
And you're reading every single comment.
Why not?
You have to let me speak.
These people are more important than we are. Without those fans, it would just be us and these cats here.
That's a good rebuttal, but at the same time, we have to have some sense of stability in terms of our speaking engagements.
Okay, pick the score.
Now you're sitting back.
I'm
gonna go out on a limb, and I'm gonna pick the Ravens to win at 30-23 because Joe Flacco, he won that playoff game.
You think they're gonna score? Okay, this
Joe
is interesting.
Flacco
Guys,
won.
Write this
that
down, everybody.
game.
Anybody have a piece of paper out there? You're going to write this down. The Ravens score 30 points at Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Okay.
That Steelers defense ain't anything this year, Bruce. I mean, Fitzpatrick killed him for 400 yards. Patrick Mahomes threw 6 touchdowns in that joint. He lit that freaking stadium on fire.
I think Mahomes is certainly in the MVP running. Him and Goff certainly are.
Yeah,
Mahomes is
1A
great.
and 1B right now.
You predicted Mahomes.
I did.
You saw him.
I did.
You had no basis.
I predicted Mahomes.
What made you think his college dossier?
No.
Why do you think Mahomes was so good?
Well, Mahomes is a freak of nature. In college, he was very good. But in that game against Denver, he was terrific. I looked at Andy Reid. Andy Reid has really had successful offenses wherever he's gone. Mahomes is such a talented player. Alex Smith was great with that offense.
Jettison's out Alex Smith. So
you had Sammy Watkins.
Reid saw something.
Well, you had Sammy Watkins. But the thing about Mahomes is that he is so talented. He can throw from any angle. And that's why he has all the measurables and the tools. And also, his dad was a professional athlete. Look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry's dad was a professional athlete. Mahomes has the maturity of a 32-year-old guy, okay?
He's also entertaining interview.
Nice guy.
We always like that.
Sounds like
when a guy's an entertaining interview, we like that.
Sounds like just a radiator going on.
KJ.
Let me do Mahomes.
Let me hear Mahomes. Let me hear him talk.
Yeah, so I look at Kansas City, and I think that we have a really good chance to win, going forward. I mean, we just have to, continue to work really hard in the weight room. And our guy, Tyreek Hill, is a guy that I believe can really be, he's a really good football player on the edge for us. But we have to keep our consistency about us, our wits about us, and we're a really tough, good football team.
Ask me a question. I want to do Mahomes one more.
Okay, so here we are. What's it like? This is your first year. How much are you relying on Andy Reid? What kind of coach is Andy Reid?
Andy's been unbelievable. I really want to thank Alex Smith for being a mentor to me as well. But I look at Andy Reid, and I think that Andy Reid's a really amazing coach. I'm blessed every day.
So that's it.
Great. So let me ask you this. We have another voice alike. You watch a lot of this guy. Let's do a Derek Carr post-game interview. Could you do Derek?
Sure, I'll try.
Okay, so here's Derek Carr.
Why don't you do one?
Derek isn't my guy.
Why don't you grow a pair?
No, I will, but okay, let me try to think of somebody. Okay, can I do I'll do Belichick after you do your...
All right, Derek Carr.
Do your Derek Carr. So let me ask you questions.
There's no comments anymore.
Okay, well, that's okay, because they're actually listening to you.
All right.
What are they going to comment on?
That's very true.
Okay, so here's Derek Carr after a big loss. So ready?
There's a comment.
So here we go. Derek, thanks for talking to us after this game.
Sure.
You lost 30-10. You got sacked 5 times. You threw 3 interceptions. It still looks like you're pretty upbeat. You still look pretty happy there.
Thanks for reminding me about that. But what's your question? You didn't ask me a question.
So the question is, how do you handle that? How are you going to be able to get over this loss and play? How are you going to get past this and you play next week anyway?
Well, in the NFL, I look at our teammates each and every day, and it's all about getting better. And right now, I know that things don't appear on the outside like things are going well, but internally in our locker room, I believe that we have a really good team. And the NFL, we have mature players, and you're not as far from being perfect. When things are going well, you're not as great as you seem, but also when you look back on the tape, you're not as bad or poor as you would seem. So I look at our team, and there were some throws that I certainly would want to have back, and there's always room for improvement. But I look at our football team, and I have faith in what we're doing, and we're going to continue to get better. Today's result wasn't what we looked for, but
I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to do a little Derek Carr.
Okay.
So first thing, we get the hair right.
Should I ask a question?
We get the hair right. Got it.
Is this about the 30-10 loss?
Ask me a different question, and I'll try to use the Derek Carr voice.
Derek, how do you keep your team upbeat while still being 0-3? How do you keep the morale high, and what are you working on this week?
Honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, Spencer, I believe that our best days are ahead of us. And honestly, I believe that my arm isn't as weak as it looked like at the end of last year. And honestly, I believe John Gruden will hopefully get me some peptides from Lane Johnson.
That was really great. You know why? Because that was a huge swing. because you changed up your voice. You sounded a tiny bit British, but you also said honestly.
But that's what he always says. If you ever watch Derek Carr,
yeah.
he uses honestly in every sentence.
He's the most upbeat human being.
And he's also
alive.
upbeat. He's a very well-spoken guy, just like his brother David Carr has much better hair than he does.
So true. Derek Carr. You're right, because Derek Carr.
David Carr's great.
David Carr has the best hair, and his brother has no hair.
He has no hair, and he's younger than him. But who cares? You know, we like to comment. We like to break everybody up.
David
Spencer,
Carr.
control this old dude.
You know what David Carr has? David Carr has the hair of the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and Derek Carr is the Coliseum's grass, which is all busted up, all dirty.
Yeah, it's got Heinz Field grass. Or what's the worst grass? Oh, you mean the Oakland Coliseum? The Oakland Coliseum's the
Troy's
worst.
the best. You know what he just said?
What?
Told me, control this old dude, and then he says, I love this old dude.
Oh, I appreciate that, Troy.
This old
dude. Well, I'm older than this guy.
You're really old.
I'm not as old as these cats, though. These cats are a lot older.
You have to be in the right mood to
You have
take
to be in
a
the right
comment
mood.
like that.
I'm in a perfectly good mood right now.
No,
It's 12:32, and we've got college football tomorrow.
Are you on peptides?
I'm on some little IV peptides, like Mr. Layton Johnson. I didn't know.
Let's do a couple of more picks, and
Couple more picks, and we'll wrap it up.
Let's
Make
wrap
like a
this
baby
puppy
and
out.
head out of here.
David
Carr is a good man. We agree.
You think
good commentator.
You think
we like
the
him.
Denver Broncos.
Denver.
You think Denver can beat Kansas City on Monday night?
Where's the game?
Denver.
You know what? It's amazing when they do these national games. They always play.
Why?
In my opinion, they have the better team always comes in as the underdog. I mean, comes in. For instance, Kansas City is clearly better than Denver, but Denver in that stadium with those fans. I'm still going to pick Kansas City to roll in that game.
Niner taking Kansas City as well.
I'm picking
now
Kansas City to roll.
Now it's a 5-point spread. You think Kansas City wins by a touchdown?
I think Kansas City wins by at least 5. I'm predicting at least a touchdown. Kansas City's rolling. Andy Reid is the best regular season coach. He's never won a Super Bowl. He does get out-coached a lot in the playoffs. He prepares very well from week to week, and they're rolling. Patrick Mahomes is rolling. They've got great skilled players. Stop bouncing because it looks like people are going to get vertigo.
Listen, Bruce.
Yep.
We've been on here for 44 minutes, okay? It's hard to sit still.
Okay. So do we agree with that pick?
I don't.
Kansas City. Okay.
I'm not sure if I agree.
Hold on to this.
I think that this game is tough. I think this game is a very difficult one to predict. I am going to predict I don't know if I can trust Case Keenum at home playing well because he's been inconsistent. You know, against the Raiders, he threw a couple of interceptions. The first game, he was very, very good against the Seahawks. Last week against Baltimore, the Broncos were freaking horrible. But this is a big Monday night game. The Broncos
at home.
The Broncos secondary is actually not very good. I think that Pac-Man Jones is injured. They actually don't have a lot of cornerback depth, okay? They have one very good cornerback in Chris Harris, but Justin Simmons, Darian Stewart, their safeties, board, right? Joe Flacco lit them up last week, so I believe Mahomes can actually have success. But that pass rush, Bruce, you have Derek Wolfe inside, you have Shane Ray, Adam Gotsis, but you also have the two big guys. You know who you have? You have Von Miller and Bradley Chubb.
You know what?
So I think it's a game where I think Denver's offense is also going to play really well. I could see Denver shocking the world. I am going to go differently than you. The Chiefs burned me last week. I believe Denver's going to win outright. I'll take a swing, and I'll probably take a miss against my boy Mahomes, but I like Denver. And Denver, this is a back-against-the-wall type of affair for the Broncos on Monday night. It's going to be really, really fun to watch.
One thing we can agree, Mahomes is very mobile. He's going to be running for his life in this game. And it's really going to be a gut check for Patrick Mahomes. And if he could evade this Denver rush and win the game, I think Denver, you picked Kansas City to actually go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, and I'm sticking with that.
By the way, if they beat Denver this week, it's going to be a large step in that direction.
Well, then you look at the division, and then Kansas City would be 2-0 in that division. Mahomes is very, very good. That Denver secondary, that's the one thing, is that their secondary's been bad. I mean, Joe Flacco lit them up. Derek Carr obviously
Kansas City defense. Not many people talk about Kansas City defense. Break that down just for a moment, please.
They are very I would say that they're not a great defense. I'd say that they're streaky a little bit. In the first half against the Niners, they've had some success, but their defense is a lot of young guys playing, not a lot of names on that defense that I honestly know about. A lot of their older guys are gone. So you have a bunch of younger players that are coming in. So
we have a guy in an Oakland Raiders outfit. There he is. There he is.
Yes.
He's happy.
Anyway, I think we're going to cut this off.
We'll cut it. This is probably a convenient point. When the cats start coming in, that's when we try to wrap up Rover Sports. So you want to sign us? Let me say hello. Yeah. The Sixers win, baby. Raise the cat. Sixers win. Granted, they beat the Australian national team by 20 points right here at the Wells Fargo Center. And our thing here at Philly is raise the cat.
Yeah, you guys are a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much. And take care. We love each and every one of y'all.
Everybody have a good night. Good night and Rove on.
Rove on. See ya.